So let's start with this problem, people. It is given that there is a circular arc, and I'm just trying to show you a complete circle here, but the dashed parts, they don't exist. Now there is only this circular arc that is present, and this circular arc subtends an angle theta at the center. So if I wanted to show you where theta is, maybe I will draw this line. I will draw another line like this, and I will show you that the angle subtended by the circular arc at the center is theta, where the circular arc is this broad orange stroke. So that's the arc which I've got, this one. Yeah. And I want to figure out the center of mass of this circular arc. Now what I can do is I can work with symmetry. So when I work with symmetry, I know that this arc is going to have axis of symmetry, which is going to be the angle bisector. And the angle bisector is probably drawn like this. So the center of mass should lie somewhere at least on this line, because this is one axis of symmetry and I can't find anything else. So for simplicity, what I will do is I will take that line as my x-axis, and then the center of mass is going to have simply one x coordinate. So wherever the center of mass is, and my guess is that the center of mass will be some point here, so it will have a coordinate that looks like x center of mass comma 0, and I only have to find out one number. Now to solve this particular problem, I will take this circular arc, rearrange it so that it looks like it's along, so that it looks like the bisector is my usual x-axis. So the usual x-axis is going to be the bisector here. Half of this angle is theta by 2, so this is theta by 2. The other half is also theta by 2 there up, so that is also theta by 2, and the center of mass will lie somewhere here. So the dot here is the center of mass, and maybe I will choose some physical property. So I am saying that this is a uniform wire. For a uniform wire, I can take mass per unit length. It's a one-dimensional object, so I can say that the density of this wire is lambda, and when I say the density, it is assumed that it is linear mass density. So in terms of some physical variables, when I try to express this situation, I say there is a circular arc of radius r of wire of linear mass density lambda, and it subtends an angle of theta at the center. So how can I end up finding out the center of mass of this arc? Simple. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a certain element somewhere. I'm going to find out the mass of that element and the x and y coordinates of the center of mass of that element, and then I'm going to integrate this entire expression which I get over this entire circular arc. So the process will work like this. You've got you've got this arc, and what I'm going to do is take a certain element somewhere here such that the angle made by the line that defines the starting point of the element with the plus x-axis is some alpha, and I increment that angle alpha by a very small amount, d alpha, so that I end up with a very small length of element which is r d alpha. The length of this element is r d alpha. That will help me to figure out the mass of this particular element which I have taken. So the mass of this element is dm, which is lambda times r d alpha. So now I know the mass of this element. Now where is this element situated? I know that it will be at x coordinate and a certain y coordinate. I can find the values of x and y in terms of the radius and this angle alpha. So this element is situated at x is equal to r cos alpha and y is equal to r sin alpha. I am assuming that this is such a small element that its x and y coordinate, as in the x and y coordinates of the endpoints of this element, do not vary much from each other, and they are these values. Now the center of mass has only x coordinate, so I don't need the y coordinate per se. I only need to work with the x coordinate. I can say now that if I take all the elements like this, all these elements will lie on this circular arc somewhere, and this will show me the x coordinate of any of those elements, x coordinate of the center of mass of any of those elements, with a proper alpha being used here, and this will show me the mass of any of those elements with a proper d alpha being used there. So therefore the total x center of mass will be, if I find out x into dm for all those elements, divide by the sum of dm of all those elements. So it will be like m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus m3 x3 etc. for infinite terms, but simply in terms of integration. So integral x dm divided by integral dm will give me the total x center of mass. And what will the numerator look like? So here the numerator is pretty easy to find out. Numerator is going to be integral of r cos alpha times lambda r d alpha, and what exactly are going to be the limits of alpha? The least value of alpha is when I'm looking at this element of the arc, which is the farthest below the x-axis, and there alpha will be equal to minus theta by 2, because now I'm taking angles on either side of the x-axis. To show that in my integral here, I will have to take one of those values as negative, the other value as positive. So the limits will go from minus theta by 2 to theta by 2, and your numerator will become lambda r square. They go out. Cos alpha d alpha. When you integrate cos, you get sine. So you are going to get sine alpha, and the limits are going to be minus theta by 2 to theta by 2. And when you integrate, you are going to get, so here, after you apply the limits, you are going to get sine of theta by 2 minus sine of minus theta by 2, and sine is an odd function. So the minus will come out, you will have 2 sine theta by 2. So you will have 2 lambda r square sine theta by 2 upon solving this. So this is the numerator. And what does the denominator become? The denominator will be simply integral of dm. And what was that integral of dm? So lambda r d alpha from minus theta by 2 to theta by 2, the same limits, and that will give you lambda r alpha, where the limits are going to be from minus theta by 2 to theta by 2, which will give you 2 times of theta by 2 here inside. So it will be theta by 2 minus of theta by 2, so 2 times of theta by 2, 2 lambda r times theta by 2. And so therefore now the x center of mass becomes 2 lambda r square sine of theta by 2 divided by 2 lambda r into theta by 2. And a few terms will cancel out. The terms that go away indeed are 2 lambda and one of the r's, and the answer finally is going to be r sine theta by 2 divided by theta by 2. And this is the format in which it is easier to keep this answer in mind. So you could always invert this expression, and you can take this 2 into the numerator, and you can say 2r sine theta by 2 by theta, but then it doesn't have that rhyme or that feel to it. So r sine theta by 2 by theta by 2 has that feel to it. So please keep in mind that this is the x center of mass. Now, any special cases for this result? So we have got a semicircular ring here, and the angle that it is going to subtend at the center is 180 degrees. Now you need to keep in mind that in this formula, when you insert that angle, that has to be in radians. So theta will have a value of pi. So therefore theta by 2 will become pi by 2. Please keep in mind that always in maths and physics, the angles that we are going to insert are always going to be in terms of radians. They will never be in degrees, except if they are inside some sine function or cosine function, where it doesn't really make a difference and we are only interested in the final answer that the sine or the cosine function returns. But wherever the angles are going to be used like this in certain calculation, they will be in radians. So theta by 2 will become pi by 2. And so therefore, now in this case you will see that the way I have placed my semicircular ring is that the center of mass is expected to be on the y-axis, because that is now the axis of symmetry. So I will say here that y center of mass becomes r sine pi by 2 divided by pi by 2, which will give you 2r by pi. And 2r by pi is approximately 0.64. Let me verify that result also. So I have to find out, I think 2 by pi, 3.1416. Yeah, it is around 0.64. So 2r by pi is approximately 0.64, and that shows you that the center of mass of this semicircular ring is going to be at some point here, that is above the half the radius mark. So somewhere you will have half the radius mark, r by 2, and the center of mass is going to be above that, 2r by pi. So this is how you can do it for a semicircular ring. Now another interesting case is maybe 1/4 of a ring, and we don't really have to solve it using this equation itself. If you remember this answer, 2r by pi, for a semicircular ring, you can find out the answers for 1/4 of a ring very easily. And what will they become? So you will have to keep in mind that when you have 2 1/4s, like what I'm showing you in this figure, then maybe the center of mass of the left 1/4 of the ring is at some place here. This is maybe a point A, and the center of mass of the right 1/4 of the ring is at some point B here. And because the left 1/4 and the right 1/4 are going to have exactly the same mass, when I try to find out the center of mass of these two portions, so this entire right mass is placed at point A, this entire left mass is placed at point B, and when I try to find out the center of mass of the right portion and the left portion, they will be giving me a point which is exactly between A and B. So I know that the center of mass will shift only along x-axis because of the addition of 1/4 of the left part to the right part, or maybe the removal of 1/4 of the left part to the from the right part. So if I had only the right part, the center of mass would have been at A. Adding the left part will make the center of mass shift to the center here, this cross. If I had only the left part, the center of mass will be at B, but adding the right part will shift the center of mass from B to the central cross here. And if I had maybe the entire half a ring and I remove the left portion, then the center of mass will move from the cross to this point A, but no change will occur in the vertical height. So the vertical height is still going to be 2r by pi. No doubt about it. This is number one. Number two, when you have 1/4 of an arc, 1/4 of a circle. So when you have 1/4 of a circle, its axis of symmetry will be a line that will be making maybe 45 degrees with the x-axis that you have taken. So if I were to draw that also in the same figure, you will see that the axis of symmetry for the right 1/4 will look like this, and so the center of mass should lie somewhere on this axis of symmetry. So maybe it will be a point somewhere here. Such that if the y coordinate is going to be 2r by pi, then the x coordinate is also going to be 2r by pi, because the angle here is going to be 45 degrees. So this is 2r by pi. And the distance of the center of mass from the center of the circle itself will be 2r by pi times root 2. So if you call this point some O or maybe C, and you call the center of the circle as O, then the distance OC is going to become 2r by pi times root 2. That's it. So you can find out a lot about 1/4 of a circle or 1/2 of a circle using this equation.